Okay, U.S. history students, here we are, the end of the journey, the last day of class. This course, I've tried my very best, God willing, to kind of to set it up along an overall narrative arc. This is not a lesson that's loaded down with nitty-gritty facts or detail. That's not really the point of this one. The point of this lesson is not to help you on your multiple choice questions on next week's test or any test. This is just about the bigger questions of life and Americanness. Our course has been operating on these different levels all year long, right? So if you look at the image on the right here, right? At the ground level, we have the grades story. And I've set up a path for you really from here to the Unit 9 test, and I believe you shouldn't find many obstacles along the way, right? In terms of your grades story, I just say, guys, don't stub your toe. I believe you can do this, and I believe you're going to do great. And I'm excited for you to do great. I'm excited for you guys to leave with grades that you have worked hard and deserve, right? That's a good thing. That's to be celebrated. That's not like that's the least level of reality or something like that. That's a good thing. But of course, this course doesn't only work for grades. We're not just on a grades treadmill, right? We're doing all this and we're pointing it toward a bigger question of understanding our American inheritance, understanding Americanness and our civic life around us, right? So if the bottom level of grades is the what, like the details, the stuff, that's the what. Our American inheritance is like the so what, who cares? What's the point of all this stuff? And I'd say, well, the point of this stuff is to bring into focus the world around you, to bring into focus the country around you and the politics around you and the civic life around you. And then of course, even beyond that, there's this level that we try to point to, or that I tried to suggest, or that I just encourage you to even wonder about, which is, what is God at work doing here? If grades is the what, right, and our American inheritance is the so what, then God's story is the now what. What should I do with this? Where should I go with this? And the idea of the blessing and the curse that we've used all year round, well, that's just really been a mechanism for us. As we continue to kind of learn new stories and learn new stuff, I think we process it through that. In that sense, that will give us a balanced picture of the good and the bad, right? Creation and the fall, or the fall and restoration. But we got to do it all, right? We're at a Christian school. We're not at Chaska High School, right? So we want to do it all. We want a holistic understanding of the world around us and our place in that and God's work in it. I think a great place to start is my favorite figure in American history, and that's Abraham Lincoln. In the midst of a hurricane of stuff happening and things flying, he had the ability to see clearly. Abraham Lincoln said this about our country. He said, "All honor to Jefferson, to the man who, in the concrete pressure of a struggle for national independence by a single people, had the coolness, forecast, and capacity to introduce into a merely revolutionary document an abstract truth applicable to all men and all times, and so embalm it there, that today and in all coming days it shall be a rebuke and a stumbling block to the very harbingers of reappearing tyranny and oppression." Lincoln is honoring Jefferson for the gift that we were handed down. And he said Jefferson and the founders took this document that was already revolutionary and world shaping when it says we're not part of the British Empire anymore, but then we made it universal and for all people and for all time by saying we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and that they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and then among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Because he says, you know what that is? When you embalm that there and you say, we move forward with this, the founders handed us, in every other generation, the stumbling block and the rebuke to oppression, and the rebuke to tyranny, and the rebuke to injustice. They equipped us to see that with that tool. What other country can say such a thing? America has done ugly things in the past, right? Think of them now. What comes to mind for you? What comes to mind from semester 1 or semester 2? Bring them to mind. You know what they all have in common? Those ugly things that have happened or that we've done, those worst moments have come when we betrayed our core creed and our core principles. When we've said, yeah, we don't have time for this, or we can't do that, or that for some reason doesn't apply here or to those people, or it's this other thing is too important to stick to our core principles and our core creed. Our worst moments have not come when we followed our core creed that the founders handed to us and that we created over the generations following that, right? When we betray that, that's when we're at our worst. And what that means is what we've been handed from previous generations, maybe it is a set of keys, like this analogy I use, your inheritance is this keys. Maybe a better visual is it's a compass. They handed us a compass and they said, it's going to get messy. I bet your generation will get lost in the woods once or twice because it happens to us all. This compass will help you find your way out. What's in this compass? What's it going to point to? Right? We saw some version of this chart a lot in semester 1, and I just kind of rounded it out for semester 2. Right? Along the way, most of the key pieces of this inheritance were built into the founding. Right? Not all of them, because we've added to it since, but the key mechanisms of what America is were built in at the founding by the founders, right? By that esteemed generation that we honor. All right, and you can look through and see some of those pieces, like identifying liberty as the key civic value, right? And saying government must be limited, government must be responsive to the people, at least somewhat, at least partially democratic, if not fully democratic. There are areas that the government is not allowed to touch. There are certain rights that we have that are inviolable. The job of government is to protect the rights of those people. We've always been an entrepreneurial and industrious people. We've always been a people, meaning Americans, who don't really fit in one single category very nicely and neatly, right? Lots of different types of people are here. Along the way, we studied, like in the Civil War, it's just established. Slavery is anathema. Slavery cannot fit with these principles, and it has to be forcibly removed. After that, in semester 2, we learned about like our economic foundation as it really kind of came into shape, being built around free market principles of competition, right? We also saw over a period of time that government continued to expand, and I added in the little parenthetical question of government continues to expand to do more things and promise more things, but should it? That's a great question. Keep asking that question. The civil rights movement that we've just studied enshrined and really scraped the rust off this notion that all citizens have equal political status and equal legal status, regardless of race or anything else, right? And that when we cannot introduce tiers of citizenship or second-class citizens, or when we do so, we're back to betraying our creed and betraying our Americanness. One of my favorite historians, his name is David McCullough, he wrote this book, 1776, which is a huge key entry point into me becoming a teacher. And then he wrote kind of a sequel of sorts called John Adams, which was a terrific, tremendous book. And McCullough is... Lord will, he's still with us. I want him around as long as possible because I want him to keep writing and keep speaking into new generations. But when he was asked, he was receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest award that the government can give to any civilian. All right? And when he spoke, upon receiving that award, he said, there's 2 reasons we need more history. Because we need more empathy and we need more gratitude. And boy, oh boy, is that sure true. And may we as Christians be people who enter into the world with more empathy and gratitude for what we've inherited. Consider for a moment, what is a blessing in our inheritance that you are especially grateful for? That you say, this thing about this place I've received, I really cherish this. This is one piece or one aspect of our civic life that I want to grow. Or that if I see people saying, oh, what is that dumb thing? I wish this wasn't like that, and trying to tinker or remove it, it's like, no. Don't take that part out. That part is essential. And I can begin to explain the reasons why that's essential. What's something that you're grateful for? This course isn't all just, the storyline of this course is not America, love it or leave it, right? If you don't like America, move out. That is not our course storyline, right? We're telling a more complex story. We're going to say there's beautiful and good things, but there's problems. There's patterns that we fall into that are damaging or destructive. These patterns aren't just because we're Americans, it's because we're human beings. Paul wrote this great passage in Corinthians that I think can apply to us. Paul said, All these events happened to them as examples for us. They were written down to warn us. If you think you are standing strong, be careful, for you too may be falling into the same sin. We're human beings just like every other generation of Americans have been human beings, right? We're all afflicted with sin and with the fall. What is a curse pattern from our past that you see and that you worry that we just will continue to fall victim to? What's something that we've always done, or maybe something that we've done more in recent generations where it's like, this is not good, right? This is troublesome. In what ways can we recognize that curse and understand it deeply and then work in our life to confront it? I want to finish our year together by returning to my deep hope as a teacher. My deep hope is not to teach from home right now, from the corner of my bedroom. This has nothing to do with my deep hope, but speaking to you, young man or young woman, wherever you sit, it's been my honor to be your teacher. It's been my privilege. I'm getting emotional. But I don't teach just for the relationships, and I don't teach just because Abraham Lincoln is tremendous or because World War II is exciting. I teach in the hopes of sending out a type of people into the world. So let me just say this statement aloud. May we, all of us, see God's story in the blessings and curses of our American inheritance and desire to be part of His restorative plan. When you pick up these keys at the door of your civic life and you go off and become Americans who participate and who vote and who read newspapers and who post on Facebook, may you be someone who can see God's story at work. May you be someone who can see blessings and understand them and grow them. You can see curses and understand and confront them. And you want to be a person who speaks into restoration. You understand that God's work is not done in the world. It's not your job to fix it or redeem it. Only God can do that. It's not your job to bring it to completion because you won't. You're going to keep falling down over and over again like the little kid in the driveway shoveling snow. But I want to be out there in the driveway with God. May you be a people who in your life desire that too. What might it mean to be part of restoration? I'm not giving you a prescription here, right? I was just thinking about this morning. What might that mean? I think it might mean that you be a people who understand and seek to understand deeply and understand in things in all their complexity and appreciate the things that have gone into our inheritance, or just wonder about it. Wonder why it came to be, or wonder how it might be better. May you be people who in complex moments, like 2020, right now, may you be people who in complex moments and hard moments or fraught moments or emotional moments understand how to return to first principles, return to who we are, right? Return to the foundational principles or return to the truth, right? And be people who can point to the truth. This inheritance of ours, it's going to need oil changes. It's going to need tune-ups. You got to change the tires every now and again. You got to whatever, everything else that goes into it. All right. It's not a generation where no one gets to just sort of sit and drive it and have all the fun and not put in the work. It takes maintenance. It takes maintenance work, and that maintenance work doesn't happen from the president, for crying out loud. It doesn't happen from the top down. It happens from the inside out. It happens from the bottom up. All right? And that requires maintaining our own understanding and then speaking that out into the world as we share it with everybody else here. And I think a way to restore, when in doubt, love God, love other people. That is the work of restoration. That is work that will restore the world and our inheritance alike. So that's my benediction for you, guys. And here we are at the finish line, and what do you know? It's actually the starting line. You hit what you thought was the end, and I say, great. You're ready to start. I'm excited for you to start. I'm excited for who you're going to go out there and become and how you're going to maintain this place. Please take care of it when I'm gone. And I really care about you guys. I really have loved to get to be your teacher this year. Thank you so much. If you have questions about your test, back to the grades level, email me. But otherwise, God bless you, and I'll see you around.